No wonder Prince Harry is so determined to get his IPP status back because it is not as much as getting his security back, but it's about not being prosecuted for crimes he's committed in the past. Because Buckingham Palace, guys, have done an amazing job covering up for this man. And it is incredible, especially the crime that he committed in 2011, that he is absolutely desperate to keep in the past, to keep hidden, and not go to jail for it. And we're going to talk about this because this is absolutely insane. This is why it was bothering me. Why does he want the IPP status? Is it really about security? But then when you dig and you find out what it's really about, you're going to be shocked and absolutely appalled by what's going on. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, beautiful people. And we're going to do I'm going to please sit down and I'm going to expose in a very few minutes just a few of the public crimes. Remember how many times I've been telling you that the palace, Harry grew up being accustomed to doing whatever the hell he wanted and not facing any consequences for it. And he gave the palace, the PR people, a good run for their money to cover up all the nasty criminal things that Harry has done. And I am absolutely shocked and appalled by all of that. We all know that Harry, at 16 years of age, he was completely out of control with drugs, and it ended up being with Prince Charles, and then Prince Charles taking him to 1 day rehab. What many of you might not know, and these articles are very hard to find, is that in order for Harry to enter the military academy of Sandhurst, he needed to pass with a B at Eaton College. Well, they call it Eaton College, but it's actually like high school. And of course, he couldn't pass it on his own. So at the time, a teacher, the scandal broke. The scandal actually was in 2000, exploded in 2005, but it was a trial. There was a hearing and it concluded in February 2006. But it was actually in 2005 that this whole thing burst up. And is that 40 that teacher got 45,000 pounds damages. Is She accused Prince Harry of cheating, and the reason why this was made public is because News of the World, the newspaper that Harry hates so much, had recorded conversations between Harry and some of his friends where he's boasting that he's not worried about him getting the grade in order to get into military Sandhurst because his family got that covered. Okay, so we hear that the teacher who accused Prince Harry of cheating and claims she ghost wrote his A-level coursework has been awarded $45,000 in damages. Her name was, I don't know if she's still alive, Sarah Forsyth, a former art teacher at Eaton College. She won her case for unfair dismissal against the school. The reason why she was fired is because officially is that she was not cut out for teaching older boys in the Eaton context. No, the News of the World published that article, and then she said, wait a minute. During the ensuing unfair dismissal hearing, Ms. Forsyth claimed she was bullied by staff. Isn't that familiar, guys? And that she was a victim of sexual discrimination. She also said she was asked by the college head of art, Ian Burke, to help Harry with a written submission to accompany his artworks. She claimed she had a tape of a conversation between herself and the prince, which backed her claim. And it's incredible. And this is when they backed down because, in its judgment, which criticized the school's senior management, the tribunal said it is clear, whichever version of the evidence is accepted, that Mr. Burke did ask the claimant to assist Prince Harry with text for his expressive art project. It is not part of this tribunal function to determine whether or not it was legitimate. That was literally the whole thing of the tribunal because that was cheating. Can you imagine if you are during an exam and the teacher is coming next to a student and basically giving the student the answers? Harry was able to pass with in arts with B because he failed in his other course with a D. So that's why he was able to get into Sandhurst. And this is one of the scandals. And we see here how they try to, instead of firing Mr. Ian Burke, they decided it's always a small guy that takes the fall. And we're just, please buckle up, because if you think that Prince Andrew is the biggest pervert in the family, no. As I said before, the news of the world had hacked their phones, and all of this came out in 2005 and 2006. And then, of course, so Harry was in this scandal, even though he graduated from Eton in 2003, the scandal broke. They sent him to Lesotho for a full year. And then he came back from Lesotho in 2004. And in 2005, January, the first thing he does is he goes to a party wearing a Nazi costume. And we've seen that. What you may not know is that the army, after this happened, they said that he should no longer be allowed to become a British Army officer. After the revelations this evening, I don't think this young man is suitable for Sandhurst. If it was anyone else, this application wouldn't be considered. It should be withdrawn immediately. But we know that's not what happens when it comes to Prince Harry. In 2003, they knew that the Eton College scandal was about to break. So they sent him to Lesotho for an entire year, hoping he'd stay out of trouble. And they were bargaining with the press. Buckingham Palace was bargaining with the press for it not to be published until 2005, when it was published that he did cheat in order to get the grades. Just with that, he should have been disqualified or kicked out of the military. And then he does that in 2005 with the Nazi uniform. Just because of that, he shouldn't have been allowed in the military, right? And you would think that that would be it. That would be, but I'm going to show you how the military, how the palace have been putting lives at risk and covering Harry's sex crimes and drug crimes in the United Kingdom. And this is why he wants his IPP status so desperately. This is here. This is our darling boy. Prince Harry flunks Army PC test. Prince Harry has flunked a basic computer skill test. This is in April 2005. This is right after the scandal with the Nazi uniform. He couldn't even pass the most basic computer test. Okay, even the instructors were wondering how this man could have failed that. You would think that him flunking that test, how did he become an officer, right, guys? You're wondering that? Well, wonder no more, beautiful people, because this is why Harry hates the press so much. It's because the press has undone the job of Buckingham Palace of presenting him in an image that he is not. Even I have had hard times because there was a scandal where once there was a military ball at the base, and he hired a bunch of hookers, and he was doing drugs, and the police came, and one of the hookers claimed that she was badly hurt by Prince Harry. And of course, because those articles were in News of the World, you can't find it anymore. But this is where we're going to find out how Harry managed to pass his PC exam that he had failed not once but twice. This is why they knew. This is why they knew that the transcripts. This is in 2006 and 2005. Okay, that they knew that, and that's how we found out, because Prince William's phone calls and Catherine's were hacked. So when Prince William called and said that it wasn't fair that Harry got help to pass the test, which is again cheating, and he didn't do that he actually had to study hard for not only the computer he passed, but other stuff as well. Because can you imagine Harry? This is why I'm telling you, he's not a helicopter Apache pilot, because I mean, this guy is an absolute more. I really do believe that Harry has very low IQ, and Meghan took advantage of that. I mean, it's not hard to take advantage of an idiot like this. And this is why he's angry, because you see, all his life, the palace has covered up for him. So I can understand him saying, what the hell's going on? You've covered up for me. And we're not even getting to the worst part of it all, guys. Get ready. This is in 2007 with Prince Harry. What you're about to hear is going to blow your mind, guys, because it is absolutely disgusting.
Prince Harry in a bit of trouble. What's he doing now?
Well, pictures have surfaced of him
basically snorting vodka.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Slash not cool at all. All right, let's have a conversation. First of all, I didn't know you could snort vodka.
Neither did I. Never heard of it.
Yeah. Uh, it turns out it shoots straight into your brain and bypasses your liver. What's our thoughts about that? Is that a good idea?
Probably not. It goes through the liver for a reason, right?
Mhm.
So if it goes straight to your brain, I think scientists and doctors have said that it could kill you. So
Oh, rock and roll, fun for everybody. I have mixed around with half naked with your friends and put cups over your nipples and get wasted and then hang out with girls. That makes all the sense in the world to me. The fact that no one has their shirt on is beginning to disturb me slightly.
What you just saw was in 2007. Okay. In August 2007, July, August 2007, when Harry went partying with his friends while serving in the military. Okay. And then, of course, in 2008, in February, because of this scandal broke, then they say, oh, Harry has been secretly serving in Afghanistan since December 2007. How can this man have been allowed to serve in the military when he's doing drugs? He was caught. This was exposed in News of the World, that he wasn't only snorting vodka, that he was snorting cocaine, that he was snorting all kinds of things. So this was worldwide news. Do you think he was kicked out of the military? No. Instead, they deployed him to Afghanistan secretly. Shh. But then the very same Buckingham Palace machine, in order to control all these scandals, they leaked that Harry had been fighting in Afghanistan since 2008. So people forget about all of those nasty things. Now, on top of that, that's the year that Sentebale was really founded. It wasn't founded in 2006. That is a big lie. And it was not created by Harry. It was created by St. James Palace. I think I've been the only one who's been saying it. And I was shocked to see this morning that Kingsley Schofield also admitted that it was St. James Palace who created Sentebale to give Harry something to do and to clean up his image. So Sentebale was created in 2008, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. These are all of Sentebale's annual reports. Okay. So you go down here and you go to it starts from 2009. But you're going to say, well, Paula, maybe they started in 2006 and they didn't file until 2009. First of all, that is illegal in the United Kingdom. As soon as you put a charity, you have to report within, do your taxes pretty much, especially with public charities. But that's not why I know that it was done by Buckingham Palace, sorry, by Prince Charles. And I'm going to show you. If you look at the report, this is the original report, guys. You can go and this is what's the address? Is St. James Palace, London. And Dr. Sophie Chandelka was actually one of the trustees of the charity. And it tells you when it was open. It was in 2000 for the year ended in August 31st, 2009. This was all to whitewash Harry's image because, I mean, they couldn't control this man. And the reason why they couldn't control this man is because he was never held accountable to any, any of the misdeeds or crimes that he committed. Because doing the drugs that he was doing was criminal. Cocaine in the United Kingdom and marijuana and all of those things are illegal. Cheating, just the fact that the military found out that Harry had cheated at Eaton school and then that he had cheated with his aide in order to pass the PC exam in order to become an officer, they still allowed him to get away with it. So we have the palace, we have Eton College, a 565-year respectable institution, no longer respectable anymore. We have the UK military putting their very own soldiers at risk. Granted, for people who say that Harry went to Afghanistan and served heroically, he did not serve heroically. He was guarded by a whole regiment of Burghas who are fierce soldiers, plus his special bodyguards that were assigned to him. And he was there for a few weeks in a bunker, eating goat curry, playing rugby, running around in motorcycles. He was never a foot soldier. Please bear in mind that even though this article exploded in 2009, Harry's behavior, racist behavior, was since 2006. And the reason why the videos were leaked about him being racist towards his fellow soldiers is because it had been allowed to escalate, and he was being a bully to a lot of his fellow soldiers. He was being absolutely appallingly racist. So that's why those videos were leaked. And what did the army do? Rather than kicking Harry out of the army, nope. No, Harry issued an apology. Because you would think that Harry would have learned his lesson after 2005 with that Nazi uniform, right? Nope. Nope. And why did he continue with that behavior? Because nothing ever happened to him. There were never any consequences. You know what Charles did when with the Nazi thing? He took Harry to speak to a rabbi. That's what he did. Just like when he took Harry for one day to the for rehab for his severe drug use. Can you imagine how much of a drug addict you have to be in order to snort vodka mixed with cocaine? Because that's what it was. This is when things get juicier. In 2011, they decided to lock down the base where Harry was in order to conduct a drug test. But guess what? Guess who was allowed to leave an army after it was put into lockdown for random drug test? Mr. Prince Harry. And this is in May 2011. Yeah, he was allowed to leave a lockdown base so he wouldn't have to do the drug test. It is very important that you keep in mind the dates, the years, not the year. This is in 2011, and this is what Harry is desperately doing anything in his remit in order for it not to come out to the fore. In 2011, Dirty Harry branded disrespectful. I love it how they try to hide what he really did to that girl, and how they're trying to say that the teen was 8 years younger because he was 27 at the time. The teen allegedly, and I have to say this for legal reasons, was not 8 years younger. She was about 15 years of age, which was under the um, it was illegal. The minimum age of consent, I believe, is 16 or 17 in the United Kingdom, and the girl apparently was 15. But the papers say, oh no, she was 8 years his younger, so she is in 19. But they refuse to give her exact age, and this is what he's trying to hide. This is the girl, and they don't go. They said Prince Harry spouted lewd banter about younger women and made a crude joke involving a shot glass during a wild night skiing weekend, a source has revealed. He spent the night with the girl, and he did something with a shot glass inside of her. Very next day, after he had realized what he'd done, he made her sign a non-disclosure agreement. But you see, a non-disclosure agreement, and given the environment that we live in right now, and the worldwide, and the Me Too movement, and everything, and like Russell Brown being called a sex pervert, this young girl is not bound by that non-disclosure agreement anymore. She shouldn't be, because a non-disclosure agreement should never be used to cover up crimes, because she was apparently and allegedly, for what everybody said, she was 15 years of age, and he abused her. Apparently, he really hurt her, and apparently, she had to go to the hospital. And this is one of the reasons why Harry is so desperate. And this is all allegedly. But that it happened, it happened. Why would you make somebody sign an NDA when he had never had to do that? Ever in the past. He's had a bunch of women and he never ever made them sign an NDA. It's because this, in my very humble opinion, was a crime. So in 2011, we have that he refused to take the drug test. He fled the base while in lockdown. And then, of course, he had apparently non-consensual sex with this teen who was underage, and he made her sign an NDA. That's in 2011. And then, of course, we have this little bit in the scandal of Las Vegas. Okay, this happened in August 2012. That he had the sexy, remember, although I can't show the pictures here, guys, because you know how YouTube is, but this is what happened in 2012. So, what does Buckingham Palace do to try to whitewash Prince Harry's image? In 2012, the prince is deployed once again. Oh, the prince will find few royal privileges at Hellman Base, living in a metal container with only sport and TV for entertainment. Oh, poor prince. Yeah. So he's deployed in September 2012 because they knew what he had done with that girl because he reported it back to the palace. And the palace found out about it and they were desperate. I don't know if if the young teen was paid any money, but then they were immediately in damage control mode. And this is why they sent them there. And also because, I mean, this guy is an absolute douchebag. I'm sorry, but he is. So Harry comes back from the front line and he gets into another little problem scandal with drugs. So what does the royal family do? They create Invictus games in 2013 for Prince Harry. Yeah, it was created in 2013 and then they hosted the first game in 2014. This is absolutely disgusting. But again, the crimes that Harry are most concerned about are the following: is that 2011 ski trip that he took in France. He is desperate to get his IPP status, and he is desperate because not, I don't even think because of the bodyguards, partly because of the bodyguards and to get, like what you might call it, he loves that in there, but it's the status. Is the status because he wrongly thinks that by being IPP, he's not going to be prosecuted. But he doesn't understand that the reason why he wasn't prosecuted is because he was a working royal, not because he was an IPP. And the reason why he was an IPP is because he was a working royal. He's no longer a working royal. He's not an IPP. And royals are not exempt from criminal prosecution. We've seen that with Prince Andrew, although we don't know whether it's true or not, given what Virginia Giuffre's done this past week or whatever. But Harry knows that as long as he has the Buckingham Palace machine and is one of them, he will never be prosecuted. This will never come to light because the machine is powerful. 2011 is the year that has Harry worried and is the year that he's desperately trying to be protected from. But again, as I said, if you're not part of the royal family, they can't help you. And you know what? Karma is a bitch. But this is why he wants the IPP status back. Not, yeah, I guess you can say because, of course, he feels inferior, he feels entitled, but also because he's used to, guys. This man grew up having Buckingham Palace, the most powerful royal family in the world, the head of state of the United Kingdom, covering up his crimes. Did you know that Harry was more concerned about the naked pictures in Vegas than the girl that apparently he abused, the underage teen girl that he had abused a year prior? And people are still thinking that this guy deserves this. Is this a man who should have been a member or a representative of the royal family, a representative of the United Kingdom, a man who embodies the worst, the most depraved things? And this is why he's so hard in court fighting for this, because he knows that when karma comes knocking on his door, it's going to bite him hard. Please let me know what you think, beautiful people.